Have you ever wondered why your mind feels out of control before your day has even started? Why stress appears before anything has actually happened? Why the moment you wake up, your thoughts are already pulling you into worries, responsibilities, and unfinished conversations from yesterday? It happens so quietly that most people never question it. They assume this is normal, that this is just how mornings are. But what if it isn't? What if the first few minutes of your morning could become a space of clarity instead of chaos? In Buddhist wisdom, the morning is not just the start of a day. It is a doorway into your mind, a small, fragile window where your awareness is still soft, still unformed, still untouched by the outside world. And what you place into your mind in these first moments becomes the direction of your entire day. So before the noise begins, before the world asks anything of you, you return to yourself. Here are 7 things to tell yourself every morning to take back control of your mind. 1. I return to this moment before anything else. Before you think about what you need to do, before you remember who you need to be for others, there is something more important: returning to yourself. Most people wake up and immediately leave the present moment. Their mind rushes forward into everything that needs to be done or drifts backward into what already happened. Without realizing it, they abandon the only place where life is actually happening, which is right here, right now. In Buddhist teaching, this constant movement of the mind is one of the deepest sources of suffering. Not because life itself is overwhelming, but because the mind refuses to stay where life is unfolding. So this morning, instead of rushing into your thoughts, you pause, you sit up slowly, you feel your body, you notice your breath without trying to control it. You allow yourself to arrive fully into this moment. Then, gently, without pressure, you say to yourself, I return to this moment before anything else. These words are not just a sentence, they are a decision, a quiet shift from unconscious habit to awareness. When you return to the present, you interrupt the automatic patterns that usually take over your mind. You stop the rush before it begins. There is a calm that exists only in the present moment. It is not dramatic. It is not intense. It is subtle, steady, and always available. When you begin your day from this place, you are no longer reacting to life. You are meeting it with clarity. Even if challenges arise, you face them differently, not from panic, but from presence. You may still have responsibilities. You may still feel pressure. But now there is space between you and those pressures. Space to think clearly. Space to respond instead of react. Space to move with intention rather than urgency. This is where control begins, not by controlling the outside world, but by choosing where your mind rests. So each morning, before anything else pulls your attention away, you come back. You remind yourself that your life is not happening in your thoughts about the future or the past. It is happening here. And this moment, simple as it is enough to begin from. 2. I do not need to carry yesterday into today. There is a quiet habit that shapes the way most people experience their lives, and they are often unaware of it. The moment they wake up, they begin remembering. They replay conversations, revisit mistakes, and bring back emotions that were never fully resolved. Without noticing it, they place yesterday back onto their shoulders before the new day even begins. In Buddhism, this is understood as a form of attachment. Not attachment to things, but attachment to experiences that no longer exist. Yesterday is gone completely. It cannot be changed, corrected, or relived. And yet the mind continues to return to it, as if holding on to it will somehow bring resolution. But instead of resolving anything, it creates a continuous loop of tension. So this morning, you interrupt that pattern. When your mind begins to pull you into yesterday, you don't fight it or force it away. You simply notice it. You become aware of the thoughts trying to return. Maybe it is something you regret, something you wish had gone differently, or something that left you unsettled. You acknowledge it without judgment. Then, with calm intention, you say to yourself, I do not need to carry yesterday into today. This is not denial, it is release. You are not pretending that yesterday did not happen. You are choosing not to relive it. There is a difference between learning from an experience and carrying it as a burden. When you stop carrying yesterday, something begins to change. Your mind feels lighter, not because life is suddenly easier, but because you are no longer adding unnecessary weight to it. You create space for something new to emerge, space for clarity, space for a different response, space for a different version of yourself. Every day has the potential to be new, but only if you allow it to be. If you begin the day already defined by what happened before, you limit what is possible. But when you release the past, even slightly, you open the door to change. So when the mind tries to remind you of who you were yesterday, you pause, you breathe, and you gently return to this truth. You are not required to continue the same patterns. You are not required to carry the same thoughts. You are allowed to begin again. And sometimes that simple willingness to begin again is enough to take your mind back. 3. I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. As the day begins, your mind will start speaking. It always does. Thoughts will appear without invitation, some useful, some unnecessary, some heavy, some subtle. You may notice worries forming before anything has actually happened. You may feel doubt, pressure, or a quiet sense of unease that you cannot fully explain. For most people, this is where they lose control. Not because the thoughts are powerful, but because they believe them without question. In Buddhist wisdom, one of the most important realizations is this: you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are events in the mind. They arise, they stay for a moment, and they pass. But the awareness that notices them, that remains steady, that is where your true control exists. So this morning, instead of immediately following every thought that appears, you pause and observe. You notice the voice in your mind, but you do not rush to agree with it. You create a small space between you and what you are thinking, and in that space, something shifts. Say to yourself gently, I am not my thoughts, I am the awareness behind them. This is not just a comforting idea, it is a practice. Because when you begin to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them, you loosen their grip. A thought like, today will be stressful, no longer feels like truth. It becomes just another sentence passing through your mind. A thought like, I am not ready, becomes something you can notice without immediately believing. This creates freedom, not because your thoughts disappear, but because they no longer control you in the same way. You may notice that some thoughts return again and again. This is natural. The mind is conditioned by habit. It repeats what it is used to repeating. But repetition does not make something true. It only makes it familiar. And familiarity can feel convincing even when it is not accurate. When you sit quietly in the morning and observe your mind, you begin to see this more clearly. You see how thoughts come and go. You see how quickly they change. And slowly you begin to trust that you do not need to follow every one of them. There is a deep calm in this realization, because if you are not your thoughts, then you are not defined by every doubt, every fear, or every passing idea. You are the one who notices them. You are the space in which they appear. As your day continues, this awareness becomes your anchor. When something triggers you, you notice the reaction instead of being consumed by it. When a negative thought appears, you recognize it without immediately accepting it. This does not mean you ignore your mind. It means you relate to it differently. Instead of being pulled in every direction, you remain centered. So each morning, before the noise of the world grows louder, you remind yourself of this quiet truth. Thoughts will come and go, emotions will rise and fall, but beneath all of it, there is a steady awareness that remains unchanged, and that is where your control begins. 4. I will move slowly enough to stay aware. One of the most subtle ways the mind loses control is through speed. Not physical speed alone, but mental speed. The rush to think, to respond, to move from one thing to the next without pause. Most people do not realize how quickly their day begins to accelerate. From the moment they wake up, they are already hurrying through thoughts, through actions, through moments that are never fully experienced. In Buddhism, slowness is not weakness, it is awareness. To move slowly does not mean to be unproductive, it means to remain present in what you are doing. It means you are not lost in the next moment before this one has even been lived. So this morning, you set a different intention. You do not rush into the day. You allow yourself to move with awareness. Even in small ways, this begins to change everything. As you get out of bed, you notice the movement. As you walk, you feel each step. As you prepare for your day, you are not already mentally somewhere else. You are where you are, fully. Then you remind yourself, I will move slowly enough to stay aware. This does not mean your day will be slow. Life may still require you to act, to decide, to respond. But there is a difference between moving quickly with awareness and rushing without it. One feels grounded, the other feels chaotic. When you rush, your mind gets ahead of your body. You begin to live in anticipation instead of experience. You react more quickly, often without clarity. Small frustrations feel bigger, simple moments pass unnoticed. And by the end of the day, it can feel like everything happened too fast to truly process. But when you slow down, even slightly, something shifts. You begin to notice more. You respond more thoughtfully. You create space between events and your reaction to them. That space is where control lives. This is especially important when challenges arise. When something unexpected happens, the habit is to react immediately, to speak quickly, to feel instantly, to move without reflection. But if you have trained yourself to slow down, even just for a breath, you interrupt that automatic reaction. You give yourself a moment to choose. That moment may be small, but it is powerful. It allows you to respond with intention instead of impulse. It allows you to stay aligned with the kind of person you want to be, rather than being pulled into patterns you later regret. Slowing down also brings a quiet appreciation into your day. You begin to notice things you would normally overlook. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of your surroundings, the simple act of breathing. These are not distractions. They are reminders that life is happening now, not somewhere else. So as you move through your morning, you carry this intention with you. Not perfectly, but consistently. Each time you notice yourself rushing, you gently return. Each time your mind jumps ahead, you bring it back. You do not force yourself to be slow. You allow yourself to be aware, and in that awareness, your mind becomes steadier, your actions become clearer. Your day begins to feel less like something you are trying to keep up with, and more like something you are consciously living. 5. Everything I need to face today is already within me. As the morning begins, there is often a subtle feeling that something is missing, a quiet sense that you are not fully ready, not fully prepared, not fully enough for what the day might bring. It can appear as doubt, as hesitation, or as a need to look outward for reassurance. You may feel like you need more time, more confidence, more clarity before you can truly begin. But in Buddhist wisdom, this feeling is understood as an illusion created by the mind. It is the habit of looking outside for something that has always been within. The truth is not that you are unprepared, but that you have forgotten what already exists inside you. So this morning, before you search for anything external, you turn inward. You sit quietly for a moment and notice your breath. You allow your body to settle. You give yourself the space to feel what is already here. Beneath the surface of your thoughts, there is something steady, something that has carried you through every challenge you have faced so far. Then you gently say to yourself, "Everything I need to face today is already within me." This is not about convincing yourself of something new. It is about remembering something true. You have already lived through uncertainty. You have already adapted, learned, and continued forward even when things were unclear. The strength you are looking for is not something you need to create. It is something you need to recognize. Your mind may still bring up doubt. It may say that today is different, that today is harder, that today requires something you do not have. But when you observe these thoughts with awareness, you begin to see that they are patterns, not facts. What you actually have within you is quiet resilience, the ability to stay present even when things feel uncertain, the ability to respond rather than react, the ability to pause, reflect, and choose your next step with care. You also have clarity, even if it doesn't always feel obvious. Clarity doesn't mean knowing everything in advance. It means being able to see what is in front of you when you are fully present, and presence is always available to you. When you begin your day with this understanding, you stop searching for constant reassurance. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Instead, you trust yourself to meet each moment as it comes. This trust changes the way you move through your day. Challenges no longer feel like proof that you are lacking. They become opportunities to use what is already within you. Uncertainty no longer feels like a threat. It becomes something you can navigate with patience. You may still ask for help when needed. You may still learn from others. But the difference is that you no longer believe you are empty without those things. You recognize that you are already whole. There is a quiet confidence that comes from this realization. Not a loud or forceful confidence, but a steady one. A grounded sense that no matter what happens, you will be able to meet it. So each morning, before doubt has a chance to grow, you remind yourself of this truth. You do not need to become someone else to handle today. You do not need to wait until you feel completely ready. You are already enough to begin. 6. I do not need to control everything to feel at peace. As the day begins, there is often a quiet tension beneath the surface of the mind. A subtle urge to plan everything, to predict outcomes, to make sure nothing goes wrong. You may not even notice it clearly, but it shows up as a need for certainty, a need to know how things will unfold before they happen. This desire to control is deeply human. It comes from a place of wanting safety, stability, and ease. But in Buddhist wisdom, it is also understood as one of the main sources of inner disturbance. Not because control itself is wrong, but because the world is not something that can be fully controlled. No matter how carefully you plan, unexpected things will happen. People will act in ways you did not anticipate. Situations will shift. Outcomes will change. And when your peace depends on everything going exactly as expected, it becomes fragile. So this morning, you begin with a different understanding. Before the need to control takes hold, you pause. You notice the part of your mind that is already trying to organize, predict, and secure the day ahead. You don't judge it. You don't push it away. You simply become aware of it. Then gently you say to yourself, I do not need to control everything to feel at peace. Let these words settle slowly. This is not about giving up responsibility. It is not about becoming passive or careless. You will still make decisions. You will still take action. But you release the belief that your peace depends on everything going your way. There is a difference between acting with intention and holding tightly to outcomes. One is grounded, the other creates tension. When you loosen your grip, even slightly, something begins to shift inside you. There is less pressure, less urgency, less fear of what might go wrong. You begin to trust that you can meet whatever happens, even if it is not what you expected. This trust does not come from certainty. It comes from acceptance. The understanding that life is always changing, always moving, always unfolding in ways you cannot fully predict. And when you stop resisting that truth, your mind becomes calmer. Throughout your day, you will notice moments where the desire to control returns. It may appear when things are uncertain, when plans change, or when you feel misunderstood. In those moments, the instinct is to tighten, to fix, to force. But instead, you pause. You take a breath, and you remind yourself again, I do not need to control everything to feel at peace. This pause creates space to respond with clarity instead of anxiety, space to accept what is happening without immediately trying to change it, space to remain steady even when things feel unpredictable. Paradoxically, when you release the need to control everything, you often respond more effectively. Your mind is clearer. Your actions are more thoughtful. You are less driven by fear and more guided by awareness. You begin to move with life instead of against it. This does not mean every moment will feel easy. There will still be discomfort. There will still be uncertainty. But your relationship to those experiences changes. They no longer feel like threats to your peace. They become part of the natural flow of the day, and within that flow, you remain grounded. So each morning, before the day begins to unfold, you remind yourself of this quiet truth. You are not here to control every outcome. You are here to meet each moment with presence, with steadiness, and with trust. And in that trust, your mind finds a deeper kind of peace, one that does not depend on everything going right, but on your ability to remain centered no matter what happens. 7. Today, I will respond with awareness, not reaction. As your day unfolds, there will be moments you cannot predict. Situations that challenge your patience. Words that trigger emotion. Small inconveniences that build into frustration. This is part of life. It is not something you can completely avoid. But what you can choose is how you respond. Most people move through their day reacting automatically. Something happens and the response follows instantly. There is no space, no pause, no awareness. And because of this, the mind becomes controlled by external events. A single moment can shape the entire mood of the day. In Buddhist teaching, this is where awareness becomes essential. Not to control everything that happens, but to bring consciousness into how you meet what happens. So this morning, you set a clear intention. Before anything tests your patience, before anything disrupts your calm, you remind yourself, today I will respond with awareness, not reaction. This intention is simple, but it is powerful, because it prepares your mind before the moment arrives. It creates a small distance between what happens and how you respond to it. When something unexpected occurs, you feel the initial reaction begin. The tension, the impulse, the urge to respond quickly. But instead of following it immediately, you pause, even if it is just for a breath. That pause is where your freedom exists. In that brief moment, you become aware of what is happening inside you. You notice the emotion without becoming it. You see the thought without automatically believing it. And because of that awareness, you have a choice. You can choose to speak calmly instead of reacting with frustration. You can choose to remain steady instead of being pulled into stress. You can choose to let something pass instead of holding on to it. This does not mean you suppress your emotions. It does not mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you respond consciously rather than automatically. There is a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is immediate and often driven by habit. Response is intentional and guided by awareness. When you practice this throughout your day, something begins to change. Situations that would normally disturb your peace no longer have the same effect. Not because they disappear, but because your relationship to them has changed. You begin to feel less controlled by circumstances, less affected by small disruptions, more grounded in yourself. And this creates a different kind of energy. A calm presence that is not easily shaken. A clarity that allows you to navigate challenges without losing yourself in them. Even if you forget at times, even if you react before you realize it, the practice is simply to return, to notice, to pause, to choose again. Because awareness is not about perfection, it is about remembering. So, as you move through your day, carry this intention with you. Not as pressure, but as guidance. A gentle reminder that you are not here to react to everything that happens. You are here to meet it with awareness. And in that awareness, you take your mind back. As you move through your day, return to these 7 truths. Return to the present moment. Release yesterday. Observe your thoughts, move with awareness, trust what is within you, and choose your response with care. These are not just ideas, they are practices that slowly reshape your mind. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to Mindfulness and return here each day to begin with clarity and calm. Your mind is not something to lose to the world. It is something you can learn to guide, one morning at a time.